Best of 3 continues. Now, unlike... hang on. Control 1. There we go. Sorry, I can never remember the commands of this. Of course, you guys, throughout the entire day, will see the scores displayed down here. Everything today, by the way, gets played up to the... I think the finals is saved for tomorrow. We're doing the quarterfinals and semifinals today. Could be mistaken about that, but in the meanwhile, Jjakji going to be spawning here in the lower right corner of the map, no longer on NS Hosa, but now on the awesome, the best European team in the universe, My Insanity, spawning in the lower right corner of the map, and his opponents playing for Cascade in the upper right. A little bit green, perhaps with envy over that victory. It is going to be Adonminus, and I am so sorry in advance for saying that. Of course, a little bit of bias goes out towards My Insanity because, like, a guy called Penguin, you guys may have heard of this guy, casts a little bit of the Challenger League from time to time. He's a pretty good friend of mine and used to be on Base Trade TV. We had a lot of fun casting once upon a time, and I got to know the team pretty well before they got Stardust, before they had the DreamHack win, before they were really put on the map. So, Hipster Rifkin here, just saying I've got a lot of love and respect for My Insanity. Their players are cool. I believe Queenie just recently joined their house. I don't know if Jjakji's planning to train over there at any point. Probably not anytime soon. He's got to worry about Korea, GSL, and all that stuff. But, yeah, a recent pickup to the team and a really cool Terran player. Jungle Valley, let's do that quick overview once again for those just tuning in. Again, before I say anything about anything, please take everything I say with a grain of salt, guys. These are my opinions and mine alone. If you want to share them, great. If you don't have to. In fact, I encourage you to disagree with me. I want you to prove me wrong on why these rocks are good versus bad. And you can do so by going to the Team Liquid thread, the Red Bull TLMC qualifier thread. Go post your opinions about these maps. I've seen some people kind of not liking my opinions, and that's perfectly fine. Those are your opinions, and I respect them. But if you guys have thoughts about this map, good or bad, hopefully good, but even if they're bad, post them. Let the community know. Let people know what's up. Maybe I'll get in trouble for telling you guys to do this. I don't know. I've actually not been told to ask you guys to do that. But I personally would love to see your thoughts. And of course with... Oh God, wow, what? Oh my God. I haven't checked Twitch chat in God knows how long. We got like 3,000 people tuning in almost. That's insane. Last time I checked was like an hour ago. We had like... I think maybe 800 of you guys hanging out with me. So big shout outs to everyone on stream. But getting back into this before I get too distracted. Quick layout of the map for those who have not seen this before, you might just be tuning in. Natural base, pretty secure, pretty cool. Third bases are either very far away, very exposed, and a lot closer to your opponent's base, or a little bit over here, where there's a geyser, so it's hard to see on some of these base locations. Maybe if I zoom in, you can see it a bit better. There is a geyser hiding under here. You can kind of see that second circle going around. Maybe it's a little bit easier to see on these other bases. Yeah, you can see the Vespine coming out of this rock. So, kind of interesting. But the rock problem on this map isn't even dust and Browder rocks. It's like these giant rocks in the middle of the map. They prevent scouting. There's no scouting that can go on in the early game whatsoever. Now, I don't know if Jjakji... Well, you know, they played the first round. So both of these players have confirmingly played on this map at least once today. They may have recognized this early on, and I think that's why we see these really sort of greedier openings. We saw Command Center first out of Jjakji. We had a gateway expand out of Adonminus. Already going to start working on these rocks to do what he can for the time being. But, again... It's a map that, right now, fresh in my mind, brand new, it's got some problems. But maybe these problems actually make for some really dynamic gameplay. Maybe make for some cooler sorts of things. And things like these rocks, they can change the meta of the game. Suddenly you don't have Terrans rushing to go across the field and charge into a photon overcharge. Suddenly you no longer have Protoss trying to 4-gate because it's less viable. There's... Or maybe they try to 4-gate more because the pylon's untouchable. I mean, there's lots of cool pros and cons, and we have to just see these games get played more. Not just on this map, but on every map in the StarCraft 2 map pool. Whether it's for the Team Liquid map making competition, or whether it's just straight up ladder maps. There's some new ladder maps coming in people are already being incredibly critical of, and that's okay. You need to be critical of these things. You need to have community feedback. If 5,000 people hate one map and not a single one of them say a thing, how will things ever change? But oh, this SCV, Bill, with vigilance, vim, and vigor, he tries to take down the rocks. Of course, supported by some marine fire. Yeah, I don't know. This is shaping up to be an interesting game. I think both of these guys have recognized there's going to be this almost no rush mentality. Handshake, no rush 20 minutes, GLHF. So they are going to go for that further attack. The Colossus, or the Robo Facility, Robo-Bay? Robo-Bay. Oh, I always confuse these two. Does anyone else do that? I hate this. Robo Facility and Robo-Bay, Voiders and Phoenixes. In all of StarCraft 2, those are the most common things I mess up. But Oracle is going to chase workers out of the natural, and Marines will pepper it just a little titty-bitty. But it's not going to be able to cause that much damage. And Mike gets cut off by the stutter step. 40 health? Nope, 34 health. Almost, it's like almost a repeat of last game. But I would like to note, an incredibly fast third command center did come down. And it's already orbitalized. Did I just really say that? It's already an orbital command. So he can start dropping mules and make up whatever small difference is made. Missile turrets coming down. A non-issue to hold off this minor bit of threat. Because, of course, the true terror is going to be the Robo-Bay. Going to make some Colossus. Going to have Phoenixes to sort of buffer for these. I love this, by the way. This is kind of like a Korean meta that's made its way into Europe a little bit, that we don't see a lot in North America, where players will pair up Phoenixes and Colossus. And for the most part early on, that sucks. You get a Colossus out, you get overwhelmed by the bio, because the Phoenix cannot possibly Graviton Beam or kill enough of them to really be effective. But in the late game, when you're trying to zone out Vikings, when you want your army to, if you want Colossus to sustainably stay alive longer, you get those Phoenixes. They soak the Viking hits, and if the Vikings ignore them, the Phoenixes actually tear them apart pretty quick. They might not have bonus damage, but man, Phoenixes attack fast, and they attack twice, which is really key. So you can have about 7 of these guys buffering your Colossus, then warping crazy gateway units underneath this, and around 15 minutes in the game, you're going to have one really sexy army if your opponent is Terran and they're going bio. But Jjakji now securing his third base. Do either players know about these wretched gases, I wonder? Because it looks like every other base, yeah, except for your natural, has one of the gases covered. Kind of cool. Kind of interesting, kind of new. We'll see if it becomes a pain in the butt or not. But 3 Phoenix is going to swoop in, try and probably pick off an SCV-2. But of course, missile turret's already in place. Marines almost catch that Oracle. This little bugger is still alive. And the biggest threat of this Oracle right now is actually not to the mineral line, not to the workers, but for the Revelation. The last thing Jjakji wants to have done is have his army completely revealed. Yeah, another 2 things I always confuse: Vision and Revelation. I kind of feel like the names need to be reversed. Like, they both make sense. Like, you reveal your opponent's army by putting little white things above their head, and Vision lets you see stuff. I don't know, whatever. Protoss, man, why couldn't they just make it easier for us ignorant broadcasters? Double Forge coming up though for Adonminus. This is actually kind of important. He has been lacking upgrades, but of course, being able to chrono boost both weapons and armor at the same time, not a problem. This will allow him to get a little bit ahead over Jjakji, who's, well, a little bit behind his upgrades, but finishing his 1 upgrades right now. Oh, no second engineering base, so no 1-1, just 1 weapon upgrade for the time being. Armor, of course, incredibly critical when it comes to fighting Terran, as Zealots with armor upgrades just don't take a lot of damage. Ugh. A little bit of harass going on, but the big thing is these medevacs are staying alive. This is another great addition to have the Phoenix in your army. So let's say you don't come down to the Colossus Viking composition where your opponent's coming at you. You can actually use these very fast units to snipe off medevacs, somewhat akin to Mutalisks if you guys want to think TVZ. Mutalisks shut down drops, and you don't see drops at all in TVZ nowadays because of bio, because of Banelings, because of Mutalisks, and actually going to be able to perform sort of the same goal, accomplish the same deed. So Jjakji's just going to be pushing forward with this after seeing this Phoenix is not even trying to go for drops. I can understand this thought process. I can get behind it. 1-1 upgrades being chronoed out like crazy, I would imagine. Nope, just being regular made. Lots of gateways coming in, but of course there's already 3 Colossus on the field, and this army might be a little bit scary. The Marauders are going to do a lot of damage if they can connect. These Colossus, of course, do have extended thermal lance. Overcharge is popped, and Phoenixes are going to try and zone out those medevacs, but Time Warp goes down, keeps the army away. There might not be force fields available, but there's enough of a distance closer, the gap, I should say, that sadly Jjakji cannot climb through. He cannot struggle to get through to get to the army of Adonminus. So forces back out for the time being. Might try and circumvent with some drops. Again, always a big threat of those Phoenixes to shut those down outright. So many gateways on the field, currently up to 9. Upgrades coming out quite nicely here for Protoss player. Jjakji finally got that second engineering bay down, so his 2-1 is coming up next. Infrastructure looking fantastic, absolutely. Taking down these rocks. Finally, it looks like they've clued in. I don't think Adonminus has yet, and this is kind of unfortunate because as Protoss, of course, your army is very gas intensive. But nope, never mind. Hark! We do have both players trying to clear out those gases. No one going for a 4th just yet. So we are going to get to see a macro game. We're going to get to see a late game on Jungle Valley, and this is now this is the part of the game I really wanted to see. This is what I really wanted to find out, whether the macro game is going to be incredibly viable due to these rocks, due to the weird start to this. I mean, everything about this map screams macro just from moment one, where you can't scout, you can't move out, you can't cheese. There's no 6 pools that will happen on this map, you know what I mean? So the early game, certainly you're forced to play blind and scared, but as I said earlier today, blind and scared isn't bad if you know that while you're blind, your opponent can attack you. So one thing that's a bit scary though is this base location. Some Marauders and Marines positioned over the cliffs. Yup. Cloud Kingdom? Anyone having flashbacks to Cloud Kingdom right now? That bottom right base location? No? Okay. Anyways, bit of a safe spot for the time being. Of course, Phoenix is a little bit tentative to engage. They would love to pick off those Vikings to take an engagement head on, but of course there's lots of Marines under this army, so it would just be straight up suicidal. Storm is about to finish up, but of course Ghost Academy a little bit lagging behind tech-wise, so Jjakji's going to be forced to eat some of these storms. He's not going to have EMP available, not going to have snipes, and oh, these Phoenixes doing what I said they would. They're going to zone out those Vikings, so unable to come in for those free hits. Mothership Core does get the overcharge off before going down, but no vision on the high ground means no way to shoot upwards. And now we actually have such a big storm cluster going off. These Marines just eating it all. Jjakji, do they not feed you in my insanity, man? Because you do not need to eat those storms. Alright. Phoenixes, okay, all in all though, I mean, he didn't lose a lot to that. Here's the reality. He may have eaten that big storm, but not a lot died, and he's going to heal up with most of these medevacs. The problem is Jjakji's medevac count is not really that high. He invested into a lot of these Vikings, so because of this, these storms, between storms and stims, it's actually going to be a little bit rough to try and dodge the storms as well as the Colossus. Once those ghosts are out on play, it's going to be a little bit easier. But I want to point out something cool Jjakji's done. He did tear down those rocks really early, if you guys recall, and he's actually expanding this way. Meanwhile, factory in the middle of the map, the Overlord factory trying to get sniped off. But oh, a free volley will go off of this Colossus, will go down. Vikings blindly try to get stormed out of panic, but of course misses most of them. And oh, knowing that the army is so desperately out of position, Jjakji's going to go for a drop. Will it be to the main or will it be to that base? Looks like it will be to the main. Oh god, Adonminus is so far out of position with no Mothership Core available. There's no way for him to respond to this. He is almost maxed out, so he can still warp in units to defend. But he may have to just go for the attack. He may just have to go for the assault and try and take this decisively. But Jjakji's army is hoiting. Big storm goes off, but doesn't kill much again. EMP is available. Storms are being protected quite nicely. But he depowers 4 gateways and double forges an Artosis pylon, to say the least. So those 3-3 weapons halted in production. Every gateway being depowered. He may have a pylon on this side of the field, but he cannot reinforce. Forced to go back home. This small drop out of Jjakji has gotten him a lot of damage. This Warp Prism never got to finish. Phoenix now going to come in and try and pick off the medevacs to try and cut out the retreat of Jjakji, but Jjakji, realizing how good of a spot he's in, does press the issue. And guys, can you imagine nukes on this map? From the high ground, oh my god, the range on that would be unstoppable for a Protoss. They'd have to blink up to come get you. They'd have to have a Colossus waltz up the cliff if you nuked this base. But Jjakji's still expanding, still taking extra orbitals, extra planetaries, making sure to stay ahead in every way this game, but so is Adonminus. I mean, he's on 4 bases. He lost his production temporarily, but he's going to get this back up in a moment. Losing those forges really hurt him hard, though. Fleet Beacon coming up. Okay. Not, okay. Okay, so... sorry, that was my brain going in full retard mode trying to contemplate this. If he goes for the Fleet Beacon, he may go for Anium Pulse Crystals for the Phoenixes, but I think he lost the majority of them. So I don't know why he would invest in that, which says to me the only other alternative option really is to either go for Tempest and try to utilize range, or go for Carriers to utilize damage, but Carriers versus Marines? That doesn't make any sense, so that's why I'm really like, WTF? But Jjakji, a man after my own heart, is going to invest in a nuke. And we'll see if he can utilize this. I think a nuke would be really cool if we can find some neat positioning, but again, so much of this map is protected by these awkward rocks, lack of scouting information, blind play, so to speak, but Ghost advancing forward, big cloaks, big EMPs. Most of these Templar are completely drained of energy now, and because of this, we see the stim forward. Colossus have nothing to guard for them. Where are those Phoenixes? Oh, investing in the Tempest. This is what I don't want to see, because of course Vikings just wreck Tempests. I mean, they've got range going for them, but there's no massive units. There's no siege tanks that they need the range for. Nuke is finished, and will we have the nuke go off on top of these gateways? Where's that nuke gonna go down? Jjakji, of course, with no cloak, has to be very tactical how he utilizes it, but the nuclear launch has been called down. The Archons clear out the Ghost, though sadly we won't get to see it land. However, Tempests are revealed. Vikings land, and so much damage is being done. Adonminus just can't hold on. Colossus are no more. Archons are the last beacon of hope, but it still goes down. And looks like here at the end of the game, 2 Tempests will try and hold, but Tempest versus Marines, Tempest versus Vikings. What is he doing? I don't know, but good game is called. Jjakji will take a 2-0 over Adonminus.